Hello, Sarah here again. Um, just giving an update. It's funny, I know nothing about lighting, and I don't think I've put makeup on for several weeks. So most of you have seen me in terrible lighting with no makeup, but it is what it is. Um, so last Sunday, I don't know if I shared this or not. I'm pretty sure that I probably did, but just in case I didn't. Um, Last Sunday, I was admitted to the ER with pain, the usual stuff. I was airlifted to a hospital about 3 hours away. And then things didn't go well there at all. Actually, nothing happened. I was really hoping that by being airlifted, and if you're being airlifted, sort of the assumption is that this is urgent and it's an emergency. Anyway, so I was airlifted, and when I got to the receiving hospital, nothing happened. They didn't do any diagnostics. I had a surgeon came and talked with me the second day that I was there, and that's it. Nothing happened. Nothing changed. The doctors didn't sit down with me and really talk about anything. It was really just kind of standing there and them telling me, we can't help you and we're sorry. And we tried. And I think that they did try. Hospitals are really full right now. And so I think they're being a little bit particular about who they're taking. So, the difference between having an emergency surgery or having an urgent surgery is a big deal. And will make the difference between getting care right now and not. So COVID is upsurging again, if that's a word. It's becoming a dominant concern in the healthcare system again. So I was Ubered home, and I do remember I did share this. You'll have to excuse me, I've had a fair amount of Dilaudid in this last week, although I'm not on any now. I'm sure it makes things a little bit fuzzy. Anyway, so I got home. I was home for a night. I probably shared on that night, and then I think the very next day, I was home for one night, and then the next day I was in the hospital again. ER, same exact thing, always the same thing. This time I had a fever, so they ended up keeping me for 2 nights, just to make sure that I didn't have an infection, which I really appreciated. I live in a very small hospital. I live in a small town, and the hospital is very small. It's less than 20 beds, and the hospitalist, sat down with me on each day that I was there, and this is going to make me cry because it really changed. It really changed how I felt, and it changed a lot, and I'll tell you why. I was in the ER, and then I spent 2 nights, and he sat down with me in the ER, and then also, came to my room and chatted with me for probably 45 minutes each time. And we brainstormed over, how I can keep from, how can we do meds differently. He just tried to give me as much information as he could about what was actually going on in my body. He did his best to sort of fill in some holes that hadn't really been explained to me, why things are happening the way that they are. And so we came up with some, so far, good suggestions. But it took that time. It took sitting down with someone and having a back and forth conversation, not just someone coming in, sort of standing there, having your doctor come in and stand there and sort of, explain to you best they can, but they have other places to be, and the answer, most doctors that I've interacted with have been really great in trying to like answer questions that I have. But sometimes it takes actually sitting down and having a dialogue of like talking back and forth, and they're trying to come up with a solution in the same way you're trying to come up with a solution. And there's this back and forth that happens, and that's where solutions happen. In that teamwork, I hadn't really experienced that before. He was busy, but he still sat down with me for 45 minutes each day. And when he was in the ER, he took notes. I mean, he got a full picture. He called around to my other doctors who I've seen for care, and tried to put together sort of like the best picture that he could, and give me a solution. He couldn't. They can't do surgery at my hospital, and so there's really nothing that he could do. But even though nothing really changed, my body is still what it is right now. I walked away feeling so much more empowered and listened to and valuable, intelligent, validated, cared for. And so I was discharged yesterday. And today is like the best day I've had in 3 months. I don't know if it was the little tweaks that the little changes that we've made. It's only been a day. Little things like taking my anti-nausea medication before I eat was just a little tweak, changing it from a pill that I take to a sublingual to help me keep my anti-nausea medication down, which is sort of the catch-22. Providing me with the same pain medication that they use in the ER. Like when I go to the ER, what they give me works really, really well. But I didn't have that at home. I had the other stuff at home, and it just wasn't working anymore. Like it was, I don't even think I could take it for a headache. It just didn't work at all. And it's strong stuff. But I had been taking it for 2 to 3 months, not so much over this last month, but, I think over 2 months you build up a pretty good tolerance to it. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not a chemist and certainly not a pharmacist, but today I felt great. I was able to eat my liquid diet that we determined was probably the best idea for me, which over the last 2 months, like this is the first doctor that suggested stick with liquids, because we don't want any blockages, this intestinal blockage that I have, we don't want it to advance. It's so interesting because I spent 3 days at this larger hospital, and the entire time I felt abandoned. I felt like no one, I can't say that I felt like no one cared, but I was not a priority. Like my pain and, being flown somewhere, you expect that whoever the receiving hospital is, that they're going to take care of you. And they didn't. They tried to transfer me out, and they couldn't, and they just Ubered me home. And I was left feeling, it was it was the very first day that I'd had a thought. So being in this hospital up north, in this larger hospital, and being ignored, having inadequate pain management, not having, not really being given the time of day, being turned down by my doctors, who they were trying to transfer me to, and being sort of turned down by the doctors, the surgeons there at that hospital. It was the first day in all of this 2 months and everything that I've gone through that I wondered if I'm supposed to even make it through this. Because I felt like I was just hitting roadblock after roadblock. Like, why won't anyone see me? Why am I not getting anywhere? Why is this not getting any better? Even though it is. But when you're sitting in a hospital, just life-flighted there, it doesn't feel like it's getting better. Anyways, that's having those thoughts is so counter to the way that I've felt. And I've had some really, 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 really bad days in these last 2 months. Really bad days. But not emotionally bad days. I've had tough, exhausting, painful days. But I never doubted whether I was going to make it through this or not. And I still don't. Of course I don't. I know that I will. There's no question. It's just taking time. But being at that crap hospital, I don't want to say crap hospital, but being treated in a certain way made me question my ability to survive. And it just goes to show you the power that doctors have. And just because someone's a doctor doesn't mean that they deserve your trust or that they deserve your confidence. Absolutely not. You know, the difference between being at that larger hospital, I'm not saying anything against larger hospitals, I don't want to name names, so it was a big, more advanced hospital than what I have here. And the difference between a good doctor and a bad doctor, and it's not even a good doctor or bad doctor, it's a doctor that is fulfilling your needs, whatever that is. If you have a lot of questions, it's that doctor that will sit down and answer them. If it's a doctor who, whatever it is that you need from that particular person, find that person and don't necessarily go with a doctor that you don't have confidence in, or you don't trust, or you just don't click, or you're not, if you don't have the same sort of basic philosophy. And I really felt that about my oncologist. I just knew the moment I met my oncologist that didn't matter how brilliant they were or how much they knew, that I knew that their belief system, their beliefs about my outcome were different than my own, and that I had no doubt of my outcome, that it would be a positive outcome. But that wasn't her. I didn't get any positive feedback. I didn't get any, encouragement. Just a little bit. So, like with most people, I guess, in life, be disconcerting? No. What's the word? Discerning. Be discerning. Sometimes we don't always have a choice, but just know that your relationship with your doctor can make all the difference. Say today's Sunday. So last Monday, I was sitting in a hospital wondering if I was going to survive this cancer, if I was meant to, if this was actually going to be the thing that would take me out. Fast forward to Saturday, 5 days later, and all of a sudden I feel like there's hope again. I never really lost hope, but I watched my reaction to one doctor versus my reaction to another doctor, and that impact that had on my body. Get a good doctor. Get one that you believe in, who sees a positive who sees the same outcome that you see. That you guys are both heading in the same direction. You know, I don't want to go to an oncologist who's going to tell me that I'm going to be on chemotherapy for the rest of my very limited life. You know, I was told that I would be here for inside of a year. And if I did chemo, that I would make it a few more months. Inside of my head, I was like, that's a load of crap. Maybe there's statistically that might be they get these numbers from somewhere, and I'm sure they're valid, but that's not what I wanted for myself. And I don't want a doctor that just goes by statistics and regimen and protocol. Of course, I do want all of those, but there's this other aspect to healing that's so important. And if you're not getting that from your doctor, find it. Because I'll tell you what, after seeing this doctor yesterday, and being listened to and being heard and coming up with really, really simple tweaks and solutions, I've had my best day in 3 months. Like, such a good day that I actually cleaned my duvet covers. Like, I don't even do that. Before cancer, I would, if you've ever washed your duvet covers, they're such a pain in the butt. But I did that today, and it was just like, I wanted to actually have 2 giant comforters, and I washed both duvets. That's a huge accomplishment. That's more than I've done probably in 6 months of not feeling good. Yes, I just admitted to not cleaning my duvet covers in 6 months. That's how bad I've been feeling. I'm not too much of a clean freak anyways, but yeah, last time I cleaned my duvet covers was in March. Anyways, I digress. I cleaned my house. I felt at home in my house today. I had music on. Last night I danced around my house. Something I just took for granted. Feeling alive again. Not feeling like cancer. Feeling like myself. And if you're still listening to this, obviously you're going through it. You know what I'm talking about. Cancer can, no matter what you think of it, there's, whether how you approach it, whether you fight it or whether you heal it or whether you, however, everyone has their own way of dealing with their physical condition. But it doesn't matter your viewpoint on cancer. It does something to you. It takes, I don't want to say it takes something from you. It takes something from you. It leaves something in its place that you didn't know existed. Gratitude, patience. It gives you perspective. it can take everything from you. It takes your time, it takes your energy, it takes your hopes, it takes your hobbies, it takes your strength. Anyways, my whole point for getting on here, and I never mean for my videos to run into 20 minutes, but be very careful with who you choose as a doctor. Make that a really important factor, because it will make the biggest difference. The biggest difference. Inside of a week, I've gone from feeling completely hopeless, questioning my mortality, to having one of the best days I've had since this whole thing started. That's the power that your doctor has with you or over you. It's interesting, cancer does take your power away. It can strip you of all of your power. And once you know what it feels like to be completely powerless, there's this interesting thing that happens. It's like it pulls power from you, and you're forced to dig deeper. You're forced to find power. And it's not this shiny superpower. It's I don't even know how to explain it. Sometimes power is not this big deal. Sometimes it's just not succumbing to whatever it is that's triggering you or fighting you, or whatever circumstance, not succumbing to circumstance. You know, there's lots of things that we have to succumb to. Certain types of healthcare, to save our lives, or I don't want to sit in the hospital for 3 days, but I have to. But just keeping your power, whether that's in relationships with your doctors, in relationship with your body, in relationship to your time, your energy. And like I said, power is not this big heroic thing. It's quiet. And it's your own. No one, I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say. It's almost like you have to have it taken from you in order to know what it is. Because you know that when it's taken from you, that's not who you are. When you let your power go, you can feel the wrongness of it. And I don't mean like right or wrongness. You can just feel that you're not meant to be powerless. And you're not powerless. That's the gift. If you're going through something right now, just know that no matter what you're feeling, that you're not powerless. Even if you haven't been able to get out of bed for 3 or 4 days. Even if you're not making it to the bathroom. Even if you're doing this alone. You're not powerless. Alright? Good night. will talk to you guys later.